The next thing that trips business owners up in QuickBooks is reconciling. And I could probably make an entire class on reconciling, so I'll try to keep this pretty short. But when you reconcile, and I think owners get a little overwhelmed by this idea, thinking, oh, I'm not a CPA, I can't reconcile. Reconciling is just saying, here's what's in my QuickBooks, here's what's in my bank statement, and do they match? And if they don't match, where don't they match? What went wrong? So it's actually pretty easy to do, and QuickBooks makes it really simple. But the mistake I see is when the reconciliation is off, people just say reconcile anyway. And that is incorrect and will cause you long-term problems. So let's take a look at how to do this correctly. So in Reconcile here, you are going to notice that QuickBooks will show you the last time that it was reconciled and what it was reconciled for. So when we click on Reconcile, we should see that data. So here we are in the Reconcile tab, and the first thing you want to make sure is that you're reconciling the correct account. So we're reconciling the checking account here, and then you are going to put in your ending balance. So if this is a bank statement, typically your bank account ends on the 31st of the month, and you will put the ending balance. So I'm just going to guess here. I don't, again, this is dummy data, so I have no idea what their actual ending balance would be. But if I was holding a bank statement and the bank account said $6,250.04 was your ending balance on January 31st. And again, you want to do this every month. So this is going off that bank statement, and I hit start reconciling. QuickBooks is going to pull up exactly what it's showing it has in QuickBooks. So QuickBooks is going to say here, and typically this would just be for January. So it's pulling up all of January. These previous months weren't reconciled yet. So if these were my books, I would immediately get out of here. I would go to the last month that I see, which was October. I would start reconciling October, then November, then December, then January. You don't want to jump ahead months and leave things uncategorized from behind, because then you cannot really go back to reconcile those months. So you want to make sure that you are reconciling the latest month. So in this case, again, this is dummy data. I was not able to know what had not been reconciled. But this would typically show these January transactions, and we're already saying, okay, why isn't January everything checked in January? So you'll pull out that bank statement, maybe you have it on a second monitor, you have it printed, and you make sure that everything that's on that bank statement is also in QuickBooks. And if it's off, typically where I see it off is at the end of the month. So for example, QuickBooks might have pulled in data from the 30th, the 31st that didn't hit your banking feed yet. It wasn't, or didn't hit your bank statement yet. It wasn't posted. So that's, if there's any kind of discrepancy, that's typically where it is at that month end. But the mistake that I see owners make is they'll look through everything, they'll check everything off, and maybe for that month, they are off by a few cents, $1, $10. And they say, I don't want to deal with this. So they just say, finish now. And QuickBooks gives you this option and says, oh, it's not zero, but we can make an adjustment date, which means in your balance sheet, it's going to show a reconciliation discrepancy that it logs. You don't want this. If it's 10 cents, $1, find it. Find what went wrong. Where was the difference between QuickBooks and your bank statement? Find that error, get it fixed so you reconcile to zero. You do not want to make a habit of just coming in and saying, oh, it's close enough, and then hitting add adjustment and finish, because your books are never truly going to be accurate. So again, if these are my books, I would go back into October, I would reconcile those October months, then November, then December, then I would come into January, and I would make sure that every single month went right here. You'll see it say 0 with a green check mark. It's a great feeling. Then you say yes, finish. Do not say yes and finish if you get this alert and just say add the adjustment and finish, I'm good. That is not going to make your books correct, and it's going to cause a headache long term.